up, RotoGrinders? Dean here. It's Dean78904 if you want to get all technical right now. The start of 2+ hours nonstop Mlb Dfs conversation, taking y'all straight up the lock. I believe it's 7:07 once again. We got the old 7:07 lock because of Toronto. You got to get that Canadian national anthem in there. So they start at 7:07. A lot of the 640 games, not in the main slate. We will not be discussing those. Of course, the second half of the Marlins-Mets doubleheader, that is also thrown off the schedule. What a disaster yesterday for the Mets. You thought their season could not get any worse, but also they have no idea how to maintain a baseball field. Myself and Tim, Tasteful Tides. Tim, I don't think we've actually talked since we've, you've had a nice big takedown over the weekend. This is from the football streets, the NFL streets, but congratulations, Tim. You got a little Scrooge McDuck in you. Congratulations, some more baseball bucks for what may be, is this your last show for baseball? Last hurrah regular season was?
Yeah, I think it's my last show for baseball. But yeah, definitely a good weekend for football for me. Shout out to you for your Mostert call, Dean, once again. Thank you.
I was just fishing. I don't care.
Yeah, I know you were, but still, I know. But still, it was you. I was like, how do I get off of Joshua Kelly in single entry? And I was like, Dean like Mostert, so that's what I went with. And I won a lot of dollars.
Yeah, you took down, was it the spy or one of the spies you took down, I think?
I took down one of the spies, and I took down the 444 single entry. So
before anybody says, 150 entries, yada, 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 that's the single entry. And we always say, Tim, you've taken down your share of tournaments, but you're also like, is it fair to say you're a single entry 3-entry max specialist these days?
I mean, I guess so. I mean, I feel like I'm more of just like a one lineup specialist. That's what I really think of myself as. Like I'll play a single team in like a 20 max or a 30 max, but you have to play it differently. So, but yeah, I just like to play one team. But yeah, I won the spy, got second in another spy, and then I won the 444. So it was a good day.
Shout out to you. Going to bring TJ on. TJ back from the Saskatchewan Expo, right? Is that what it was called? Saskatchewan Expo. TJ, if you guys aren't aware, no coincidence, one of the greatest DFS players in all of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. Yeah, you were back. You were busy all weekend talking some Walking Dead. What else were you talking? Were you talking Walking Dead? You might have been talking Walking Dead.
A little bit off the record. No on the record stuff of Walking Dead because of the strike, but it was a fun weekend. I moderated my very first panel at an expo, and so it was for Nolan North. He is the voice of Nathan Drake in Uncharted, and he's in The Last of Us and Assassin's Creed, Destiny, The Avengers. He's Deadpool. So a lot of stuff, and then he's in some TV and some movies as well. And so that was a lot of fun. Got to interview him, talked with Kari Payton, who is Ezekiel in The Walking Dead, and he's also the voice of Cyborg in all the kind of DC animated stuff. So if anyone has ever watched Teen Titans or has kids who watch Teen Titans Go, he's Cyborg. So that was fun. And then also talked to Amy Jo Johnson, who was the OG Pink Power Ranger. And so had a fun little weekend. Back home now, back on the grind, and here for the next about 3 weeks before I got to go to New York Comic Con, and then back. Nowhere to go for the rest of the NFL season.
There you go. Shout out to Uncharted. I enjoyed the Uncharted series. Speaking of that, I have a PlayStation 5 en route. It was supposed to be here yesterday, and you gotta sign for it. So I might have to sneak off if it's coming. We'll see. You can't just leave it at the door, like seriously. But I understand. I kind of get it, I suppose. But we finally upgraded, TJ. I don't know why. My PlayStation 4 was fine, but I might as well get a 5. 5's higher than 4, so it must be better. Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Like, for nothing else, I would be buying a PlayStation 5 for nothing else other than this new Spider-Man game.
All right. I could have got the bundle for like $100 more, and I didn't do it. I probably, mistakes were made, I suppose. I can always buy it, I suppose. The game is like $70. Hey, we're talking Mlb Dfs, taking y'all straight up the lock again. 2 hours. We're yielding to, I believe it is Dave Potts and SquirrelPatrol. Dave Potts confirmed. One of the all-time top 5 nice guys in all of DFS per Twitter. I would not disagree with that. Also, he won $2 million. So that's pretty good too. SquirrelPatrol also, he's won $1 million. He's a nice guy as well. Going to help you guys win some American dollars this evening. You got Kevin Roth, chief mineralogist Kevin Roth, all over that. Weather tonight looks pretty clean. No issues. I'll go ahead and drop the weather report for the people in chat. If anything happens to pop up, Roth, of course, is going to be all over it. Tim.
I know we don't have any NBA shows yet, Dean, but you kind of buried the lead that Damian Lillard is now a Milwaukee Buck.
Yeah, well, my vested interest in my friends that are Heat fans, like they're outraged, and like I was never somebody that they all thought like it's like a done deal. He's coming here, and I can't believe Portland's taking this deal. Portland's doing to stick it to Lillard. They're sticking it to Miami, and like Miami wasn't offering a great deal. Like everybody's like Tyler Hero is great, and I'm like I don't know if I would take Tyler Hero for free, like giving up nothing. If you're telling me I got to pay him 4 years, $120 million, it might be a net negative. And that was like the big piece in that deal. So he's only 23 still. Okay. But like, he's terribly inefficient and he might've plateaued.
Him talking about that the Bucks need to be looked into for tampering on Twitter is pretty funny because like you were going to be the guy who was gone, dude. But how do you
Butler said it. Butler said it.
Yeah, and then Hero retweeted it and posted it on Twitter too. And so, how do you think I feel? Shams tweeted and then deleted that Lillard was a Raptor and that there was a trade going through. And so that was disappointing. Yeah, he tweeted out that Lillard was a Raptor. Ayton went to Portland and Nurkic went to the Suns. And then he deleted it immediately after. But I was kind of always of the case that is like, as long as they didn't have to give up Siakam, I would have been down for it. Or sorry, as long as they didn't have to give up Scotty Barnes, I'd have been down for it. But if Barnes was on the table, I definitely didn't want it to happen.
Yeah, it's an interesting trade, and I'm still kind of digesting it. But Drew Holiday is the next piece to fall. Like I can't imagine he sticks around in Portland. That makes no sense. They got him for 2 years, $70 million, and when Portland is theoretically good. Drew Holiday's not going to be there, and he's also 33, 34, so he's a big chip that maybe he goes to Miami. Boston's going to be knocking on that door, kicking those tires as well, so really curious how that falls. But and I think it was a good addition by subtraction for Phoenix. Ayton, is one of those like stat compilers, but I don't really think he matters all that much. And if we can get more shots for Durant and more shots for Booker instead of Ayton, that's probably a good thing. So I think Phoenix probably got a little bit better. You have thoughts on this, Tim? You're aware of the trade, I assume.
I mean, I saw some of it. I guess I didn't catch all of the trade. I haven't really been following NBA at all.
Understood. It's daily fantasy sports, Cam. We care about today and today only.
Right. I know Dame is on Milwaukee now. That's pretty much all I know.
Yeah. So Dame went to Milwaukee. The Blazers got Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, a first-round pick in 2029. The Suns got Nurkic, Grayson Allen, Nasir Little, and Keon Johnson. So. Yeah, it's a lot going on, a lot to digest for sure. But we have plenty of time, and
Drew is of course expected to be immediately flipped.
Yeah, that's the next domino, like for sure. Like there's no way. I saw Grant Neefer immediately. He bought Milwaukee like at 750, and he put $1,000 on him or something like that. And I think it's already dropped, but. You could possibly make an argument if you want to make the argument that Milwaukee may have gotten worse, maybe, not sure, or at least maybe they stay the same.
They're still going to be really darn good defensively, and Lillard is going to give them that offense that they need in those playoff games when all of a sudden people are packing the paint and no one can hit threes.
I mean, Lillard and Giannis and the PNR is going to be outrageous. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch for sure. Yeah. And they're probably going to play a lot of games like 139, 133. Like they're going to be fun to watch. I think they got worse defensively to some degree, but the offense certainly increased. And looking forward to basketball season for sure. All right, as far as the slate tonight, it's kind of a small one, but it's pretty straightforward, Tim. I think it's fair to say it's pretty straightforward as far as who the best offenses are. Dodgers are in Coors facing a no-name. They're 7.5 total. Same deal as yesterday. They have it locked up. They didn't play a doubleheader, so I assume we get a reasonably standard lineup at LA. No lineup just yet. Atlanta is still very good, but the matchup is not perfect, but it's the Braves. They can smash anybody. The pitching up top is pretty clear as far as the best arms. Garrett Cole, Pablo Lopez, kind of a dip after that. Framber Valdez. Houston's playing like a real life, basically a playoff game, not essentially, but kind of sort of somewhat against Seattle. One of Houston or Seattle is going to make it to the playoffs, and this game matters a ton. Houston 4-10 in their last 14 games, 2-7 against Oakland and Kansas City. Egregious They were cruising to the playoffs, and they're stumbling down the finish line. What do you have here, Tim, as far as this slate? Do you feel as well it's kind of sort of somewhat straightforward? And then, it's baseball, so you got to get goofy.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. We know where ownership is going to flock to. Definitely for pitching and for hitting. Like you said, the Dodgers are going to be super, super chalky today on the slate. I was kind of, I always look at projected ownership first, and, because I want to kind of see, like, if there's any, like, big surprises to me. And the first thing that I noticed, which I thought was pretty juicy for, like, large field for pitching, is Garrett Cole on Fanduel showing up at 5.5%. And he's $200 less than Pablo Lopez. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Like, I understand that Pablo's in a better spot and might be maybe the better pitcher, but I think it's so close. And I think that Lopez is actually going to be even higher owned than that. Cole might be a little higher owned than that too, but I still think Lopez is going to be like at least 4 times as high as Cole. So, like, if I was playing large field GPPs, and I would even consider him a single entry GPP, I really like Garrett Cole tonight in tournaments.
I love that take, and Potts, Cheeseisgood, he wrote about that as well. And just to kind of add some color to it, this is the last start of the season for Garrett Cole. It's the last start for anybody that's starting today of their season, unless, of course, you're playing in the playoffs. And I think New York would like, obviously it's been a horrific season for them. They liked it for Cole to finish strong. And the other side of that is that Minnesota is going to the playoffs, and that's that. And Pablo Lopez, no matter what he does today, he's going to be pitching in the playoffs, and they want him pitching in the playoffs. And how much will they push him? We saw Bailey Ober last night. He cruised against Oakland, but he didn't pitch a ton. I think he went 5 or 6, maybe 5 and change. He was spectacular. If they needed him to go another inning, he certainly would have, but they didn't need it, so that's it. And I think the ceiling for Lopez is absolutely lower than the ceiling for Cole when you think of it that way. The Yankees would love for Cole. Why not? Let him go 8 innings strong if he can against Toronto. And Lopez, that's just probably not going to happen unless he's insanely efficient. Even still, like, why would they push him? Ownership-wise, 35% as far as Lopez on DK. Cole is more expensive, and he's at 12%. I love doing that in tournaments.
It's kind of a different story, at least for me, on DK, just because of the price difference. Like, Cole's $600 more. But yeah, he's great for large field. But I don't know if I want to pay the $600 more in single entry for Cole. But I totally get the logic behind it. It's just the ownership gap is, I mean, I guess it's the same, but the price gap is like Cole's more expensive, and I really want to prioritize bats, so I might do Lopez for DraftKings. I'm not quite sure yet what I'm.
This is how you become a single entry specialist, though, because you know how ownership rises up. I think all the single entry players are going to play Lopez. They're not going to play Cole. They're not going to double barrel because they're going to want some LA. Lineup is out. We'll talk about it in a second. So I don't think it's
out of the question that people go double mid range too,
though. Okay. I'm curious to hear what you have to say about that as far as double mid range. Barrios.
Barrios,
Dunning,
definitely in Dunning. Or even Canning. It wouldn't really surprise me if people go a little bit like double mid range, and then you can pay up for the Dodgers pretty easily. I'm thinking that might be a somewhat, not the most popular build in single entry, but I think that there will be some ownership that goes double mid range and then go expensive Dodger bats.
So Tim only needs one lineup. TJ, I believe you're running out 150 today. What is the 150 strategy? Are we going to play? Are we going to play the feud? And are you what's your thoughts as far as the Cole versus Lopez conversation? Cole is going to get less ownership. I think that's pretty clear.
I can tell you my thoughts on that situation, or we can play the feud. It's been a while since we've played the feud, and it's interesting because this is one of the last days of the slate. And I think this is probably the only time this entire season I have a bigger pitching pool than there are games on the slate.
Huh. So you have 9 pitchers.
I have 11 pitchers.
Oh, okay. So do you want to play the reverse feud and just cross out the guys that? So there's 5 starting pitchers you're not playing. Is my math correct? I went to UCF, so feel free to double check it.
There are 5 starting pitchers I am not playing. Yeah.
Do you want to play the reverse feud or you want to play the feud? What do you want to play, Tim?
I wasn't listening.
Oh, jeez.
Let's just look. Let's play the reverse feud. I don't know what that is. But let's play it.
So there are 5 players in my 5 pitchers I X'd out of the pool today. Everybody else is in my 150.
All right. So you X'd out Noah Davis.
Show me Noah Davis. Or don't show me Noah Davis. I don't know. How do we say that?
Ding, ding, ding. Noah Davis is one of the 5 pitchers I X'd out.
All right. Now Dean can go.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm so sure Dean is going to be wrong on this one.
So what's funny is you're framing it in a way that like you're not playing one of Lopez or Cole, which that's what I was hearing. And that doesn't, it's possible. I understand you can take an interesting stand here. Like maybe you're not playing Lopez, which would be wild, but I kind of get it if you're doing something goofy like that. Like the chalk answer here is
my feel it in my plums play of the day is that you're going to get this guess wrong.
Now you're just playing mind games with me. I'm trying to, okay. There's really, Tim took the low hanging fruit. Like, of course, Noah Davis was the number 1 answer. Whatever a Joey Estes is, you're not playing him.
Joey
you
Estes
are playing Joey
5,300 against one of the highest strikeout teams in the league. Yeah, I'm playing him.
Okay, yeah.
I'll tell you. All right, my next guess is somebody I hope TJ is not playing, but he might be, but I hope he's not. Would be Wade Miley.
Lowest owned pitcher, but Wade Miley is in the pool.
Oh, we're not good at this. Oh, Darius Vines is not, is not your poll. Darius Vines. Speaking of low-hanging fruit, I'll take Vines.
That was the low-hanging fruit.
It's a pun. Yeah. You're rolling out Darius Vines?
No, this is
not, TJ.
Yeah, that's not good.
TJ, how long have you been away from baseball? You got to go back to that convention. We're playing some Darius Vines?
Oh, just 5%, but yeah.
He's also like limited as far as his pitches too. Like you're not, to be clear, feel free to speak on it. You're not endorsing him as like this is a great play. You're just kind of getting different combinations.
Yeah, no,
of
I'm not endorsing him in any way, shape, or form. In full disclosure, I think he was supposed to be X'd out, and that was an accident because he didn't have any exposure beside him. So I gave you the quick because I saw him on the list, and it was an accident, and I tried to save face, and it didn't work. So I just X'd him out.
10 and 6.
You're correct.
10 in,
you're
6
correct.
out.
Yeah, 10 in, 6 out.
Okay, and we got 2 of them already as far as who's out. Okay, and is it 1 official X or 2 official X's? 2 official X's still. One each. Tim, fire away.
Sean Manaea.
Ding, ding, ding. Sean Manaea is X'd out of the pool.
Really? Revenge game? Sean Manaea?
I just don't like Sean Manaea. I don't trust him. I love stacking against him.
Okay, interesting. I thought he would be one of the better cheap options. I don't feel great about it, but you've heard the Padres are gutless. Have you heard that or no? Is that something you've heard at this point sometime this season?
I have heard that before, yes, but doesn't matter to me. I'm still stacking them up today.
Yeah, Manaea has been better, but he's been kind of lucky as far as BABIP too, and the ballpark protects him for that. And like you absolutely can pick on him as well. But I mean, as far as like Vine, well, I guess Vines is not in the pool for you either. Let's see. Okay. We still got to get 4 more. Is that correct? 4 more that are not in your pool?
Correct.
Are you going to consider? Well, Emmett Sheehan's really cheap. You probably don't want to pick on the Braves, but like in theory, Jamison Tyon's too cheap at 6'6", but it's the Braves, so well, you're just kind of asking for it. That Cardinals lineup is woof. I was looking at Wade Miley, and man, and also there's no Willie Adames for Milwaukee. You're gonna get a lot of this. No Goldie. St. Louis doesn't care about that BBP. Goldie is 10 for 20 against Wade Miley. They don't care. Whatever. They're just playing out the string. Let's see. I'm sure you've seen those lineups. They're pretty gross. I'm going to say that Jamison Tyon. You're just not going to pick an Atlanta because you're going to be rostering a lot of Atlanta. That's why you're doing this. You're going to have a ton of Braves.
Ding, ding, ding. Jamison Tyon has got the X button. The last two are probably the most difficult two. One, pretty tough. One, pretty easy.
Yeah, so one of those is it's Garrett Cole or Pablo Lopez. You're framing it in this way. That's what I'm hearing, at least.
I'm going to go Bryce Miller.
Ding, ding, ding. Bryce Miller is not in the pool.
Okay. So how many are left? Just one left?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's one of, I think one of your big stands is you're not going to play Lopez, which seems outrageous. But I think it's Lopez who's not in the pool. And your big stand is to take Cole over Lopez. So I'm going to say the answer is Pablo Lopez is not in your pitching pool today out of 150 lineups.
That is completed. The feud is over. Pablo Lopez is not in the pool. He's going to be the highest owned pitcher on the slate, running 150. Going to do it without him. That's going to allow me to get slightly overweight on all of these not so great cheap pitchers, but one of them is likely to have a pretty good game, and I like a lot of bats today. And so as it stands right now, I just have a new set of builds that came in. I got 35% Dunning, 35% Berrios, 25% Cole, 20% Valdez, 15 Canning, 15 Sheehan, 15 Thompson, 13 Estes, and 13 Miley, 13 Waldron.
Yeah, and this kind of goes hand in hand. We're not talking hitters just yet. Obviously, we'll get the stacks soon enough. But, spoiler alert, TJ is going to have a lot of Braves and a lot of Dodgers. Is that fair to say?
Yes, it is. They are my second and third highest owned stacks.
How much Thompson did you say you had, TJ?
15%.
15%?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I like Thompson today.
Why do you like? Is it just because this Milwaukee lineup is so gross? Frelick,
Yeah.
There's no Yelich left on left. There's no Adames. Yeah. I mean,
that lineup is really, really bad. I mean, I know Zach Thompson isn't great. It's just that price, I'll have to see kind of where I get with bats and what I want to do with the whole Lopez Cole situation, and of course there's Berrios too. But I'm looking at Zach Thompson pretty hard for single entry right now.
I'll tell you a dead giveaway that the lineup's gross and terrible, Tim. It feels like they just pulled these 9 names out of a hat. As far as, okay, these are our 9 guys that are going to play today, and let's figure out the lineup. Let's just pull the names out. You could shuffle up any single way. It's how does Caratini end up as the number 4 guy, or Rowdy Tellez left on left is the 5 hitter who's been horrendous all season long.
Yeah.
It's a weird. I mean, some of them, I guess, Contreras at the top, sure, Frelick, I guess. And it's a lot of lefties, by the way. It seems like a lot of.
There's
lefties.
a lot of walks in that Brewers lineup, and Thompson walks a lot of lefties. That's the one thing that scares me quite a bit. But man, if he could just have some decent control, I think he could pay off that price tag so easily against this lineup. So I don't know. I think he's a pretty good play today, at least in large field tournaments.
Is that small sample stuff? Just 72 at bats this year, 12.5% walks left on left. I'm assuming that's
but I mean, even in looking at last season, I mean, he's still around 10% against lefties in terms of walks, 10% overall. So I mean, he's still a relatively young pitcher, but I mean, we do have a sample from last season too. That's kind of in line with this season.
Not a big split historically, according to the bat. He's just given just a kind of an average split, so it's not like lefties are smashing him and righties aren't. But it is interesting. He's been walking too many of those. Yeah, I mean,
you ready for the first Spidey Bomb, Dean? Because we're only 4 likes away.
Yeah, we haven't asked for the likes. Hit that like button. Subscribe, turn on the notifications, do all those things you do. Hit all the buttons, hit all the things, however you wish to do so. Is Spidey well rested? Because I feel like he hasn't made any calls in a while.
Well rested and ready to rock. Spidey's been helping me out with my Prize Picks articles for NFL, and we have gone perfect back-to-back nights. Sunday Night Football, NFL football. We got the DFS pick'em predictions 100%. So Spidey was helping me out there. We're going to bring him back in baseball, though, as well. We're already over 50. Let's get it up to 100 for Spidey Bomb number 2. People who are listening to the morning grind last night got a tease as to who the first Spidey Bomb was going to be today. I called him to double dong on the morning grind as my favorite 4K hitter to get 2 or more hits. And I said they're going to be both home runs. And crazy enough, Stevie actually had the same thing written down, that this guy was his 2-hit play. And they were both going to be home runs too. So I like that. And it's Matt Wallner today for Minnesota.
Okay. Yeah. Matt Wallner against Joey Estes. Wallner is getting the 5 spot today for Minnesota. Minnesota crushed yesterday. Have a 5 total. Pretty big number for the Twins, a team that has already locked things up. Julian, Polanco, Solano, Kepler, Wallner, Jeffers, Castro, Farmer, and Vasquez. Not the greatest looking Minnesota lineup, but I guess that'll do. Dodgers did drop, by the way. It's Betts, Freeman, Smith, Muncy, JD Martinez, Hayward, Outman, Peralta, and Rojas. So I believe that is pretty standard, right? I think
that sounds like their projected lineup.
No Texas Angels just yet. By the way, I think there's a decent chance we do not get Seager. Seager was removed last night. I know X-rays were negative, but I can see them giving Seager a day. We'll see. Stay tuned. That would change things a little bit. No Houston just yet. No San Diego. No Giants. And again, I did mention Houston and Seattle are basically in a dogfight for that last spot for the playoffs. So it's kind of sort of somewhat a playoff game. And like Tim, there's 2 different ways to approach this, right? If this game gets ugly, if Dusty Baker thinks Valdez, for whatever reason, doesn't have it today, like there could be a quick hook because they really cannot afford to lose this game, and they're going to treat it possibly like a playoff game. Now, if he's cruising, they might fully let him go. Same deal with Bryce Miller. I don't think we are really on Bryce Miller necessarily, but Valdez is pretty expensive. How do we feel about Valdez for you, Tim?
So the 2 things that you just said, Dean, kind of like cancel each other out. I'm not going to worry about that whole dynamic. I'm just going to pitch him if I want to pitch him. If he's doing well, you're getting fantasy points, and he's going to stay out there. So who cares, right? He might get an extra inning. He might not. To me, I don't really care about that. They're trying to win this game. If he's doing well, he'll stay out there his normal amount of pitches. And I say roster him if you want to. For me, he's going to get squeezed. I'm not really considering him for my single bullet on FanDuel or DK, but I could definitely see why people would play him in GPPs. Bryce Miller's a guy who doesn't really have a high pitch count anyway. So, again, I don't think they're going to overextend him to try to win this game. I think he's going to pitch his 80 to 85 pitches, and that's it. I don't really want to go against this Astros lineup. So for me, and I think TJ too, we're out on Bryce Miller.
TJ, you were officially out on Miller, right? What's your thoughts as Valdez? Valdez is in your pool. Are you over, under, or kind of with the field with Framber? I'm giving a refresh as far as ownership. I think it's around 20% or so. Yeah, as of 5:23 on DK, getting 20%. And I'll ask you about Barrios in a second as well. But your official take for Framber, where are you at, TJ?
Yeah, I'll be right around the field for Framber, maybe a bit under. I kind of keep doing these different builds here to adjust the stacks, make sure I get everybody in my pool into a lineup. And in order to do so, it's requiring me to get a bit more of these cheap guys. And I honestly don't even hate the idea of playing a decent amount of Joey Estes because Minnesota is going to be my highest owned stack today. And so I don't like kind of hedging it with that as getting a cheap option to allow me to get more. But My last build was 20% Valdez. My next most recent one is 17. We'll see where it lands, but it'll be somewhere in the 15 to 20% range. So likely close to even, but maybe a bit below.
Several people in the chat are asking you, TJ, about Waldron. Derek wants to know what percent you have as far as Waldron. I believe I saw Eric saying Waldron is his favorite pitcher. I'm not sure how he came up to that conclusion, but I mean, he could be fine, but how is he your favorite pitcher today? Yeah. What's your official take as far as Matt Waldron?
Got about 50%, 15%, not 50, 15. Oh. I like Waldron today. He's in the pool. He's just kind of one of those mix and match guys that I got about 15% of.
Did you have a thought, Tim, as far as Waldron? I imagine he's probably not going to creep in your single entry or 3-entry max lineup. Maybe tell me I'm wrong, but for me, it's not going to happen. I don't envision that happening.
Yeah, for me, it's not happening. I think it's K rate. I mean, I know it's a small sample, but K rate against lefties too low for me. I prefer, if I'm going to go low, I prefer to go to Thompson.
By the way, TJ, Fernando Rodney, friend of the show in chat, says Wallner is not going to be low today. He's his favorite play on the board. So look at you. You're moving the needle as far as Wallner.
He will not be low owned, but I think he's definitely hitting a home run.
Definitely. What are did you happen to pull the odds? You got the little scores and odds on it? It's probably pretty good. Maybe 4.5, 5 to 1, just kind of throwing it out there. I feel like
they're not great. You can get them for like 365, 370. But
what about your bootleg site in Canada?
If you wanna, I got them for 460. Stop calling it a bootleg site. Like it's 100% fully legal site in a different place that you live.
You're making TJ angry, Dean. Did you hear that?
You're in Florida, Dean. You guys got bootleg schools over there. Anyways, I was so upset that Schwarber wasn't in the lineup because I got Schwarber at plus 600 to hit a home run today over there.
Who's he facing? I don't know who they're playing.
He's not even in the lineup, so he's facing no one.
All right. So my apologies for besmirching. I'm sure it's a fabulous site. They don't even pay you out in American dollars, though. They give you like loonies and toonies. Is that worth anything?
Yeah, it's worth about 80% of an American dollar.
80%. That's not bad. All right. Let's move on. Other pitchers. So if there's anything we missed, anybody wants to focus on, by all means, chat, throw it into the conversation. I don't want to completely ignore Fanduel. I know, Tim, you were talking about that earlier. Lopez and Cole, I think they're 1-2 as far as ownership over there. I want to get a Barrios take as well from both you guys. Let's see. FanDuel ownership, we're looking at 22 Lopez, 12 Barrios. If that is correct as far as Cole at 6%, it's a great point to point out here, Tim. That's outrageous. It's just Cole should not be 6% on FanDuel if Lopez is 22. The difference in price is negligible. Cole's actually cheaper. I feel like that's, I don't know. I think that's a little bit wrong. I think that's, or like take advantage of it.
I think it might be a little bit wrong, Dean, but I don't think it's going to be like extremely wrong, if that makes sense. Like I still think Lopez is going to be significantly higher owned than Cole. It might not be that wide, but I think it's going to be fairly big. And then I think the only other pitcher I would consider on FanDuel is Barrios at 9.9. But I think I don't know. I'd rather just go higher on FanDuel and just play Lopez or Cole. But Barrios is going to be the super chalk on DK, and I think that's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
TJ, jump in here. What do you think of Barrios? Talk about your Blue Jay.
I like him. He's going to be tied for my highest owned pitcher with Dane Dunning today. Lots of strikeouts in that Yankee lineup. He's been pitching very well. I like Barrios quite a bit. I think he deserves the ownership he's getting.
Let's see. Anybody else we've kind of missed? Griffin Canning thrown out there. Canning and Dunning. And I think Canning would get a boost. I don't really want to pick on Texas, but he would get a boost if Seager is not in the lineup. Still waiting on that. I don't know if that's the make or break. Like I'm going to play him if, Seager's not in there, but certainly it's more persuasive. Tim, what do you have as far as Canning? Do you have a lean? Are you with me? You think Seager possibly sits out today?
I don't know. Isn't this game kind of important for Texas?
They're basically locked in. If you look at their projected chance, 97% chance of making the playoffs. So
But are they locked in for like the division though?
No, 86% chance of winning the division. Houston and Seattle both have a shot. They're 6%. I'm looking at Fangraphs projected odds. Like if they go over, they have 2 games on Houston and 3 games on Seattle. So like they're going to win it almost definitely unless they go over.
Yeah, so maybe you're right. Maybe Seager does get the day off. That would be a big boost for Canning. Definitely fine. I would consider him if I was making like 3 teams tonight, like in the 3 max. I would consider having a Canning definitely, maybe as a pivot from Berrios or as like a double mid-range, combination with Berrios. I would consider that. I think it's a pretty decent spot. I mean, it's tough to say though because this Texas lineup it's pretty good, and they're pretty good against righties too. So even without Seager, but I don't know. I think that this pitching slate, I guess, is weak enough that you could definitely get to Canning if you wanted to.
What do you got there, TJ, as far as Canning, Dunning, and that stuff in the middle that's worth pointing out for you?
Yeah, I like Canning less than Berrios, less than Dunning, but he is still in the pool. I'm probably going to get to him around the same amount as those cheap guys. I'm kind of expecting Seager to be out here, and before that, I didn't have as much interest in Canning. But with Seager out, I don't mind getting to some Canning here. Not as highly owned as Berrios and Dunning, but I do still have some of them.
I don't know what sportsbook Top Shot Picks is in chat, but he's talking about this is a TJ question. Apparently, you can get Wallner at 4+ RBI for 31-1 and 3 RBI at 12-1. I don't know where it might be your site.
Get that 4 RBI one. Quick little grand slam, and you're good to go.
Who does he think he is? Royce Lewis? Quick little grand slam. That's not easy. Like, there's Hall of Famers that have never hit a grand slam.
Well, those Hall of Famers aren't Matt Wallner.
Future Hall of Famer Matt Wallner.
Future receiver of a grand slam, Matt Wallner.
Look at Tim is multitasking. He's answering questions in chats, taking care of the people in chats. I was going to get to that, Tim, but you're too fast for me, apparently. We'll talk about that in a second. Some hitters. They're asking about hitters. We'll talk about that soon enough. Is there anything else that's worth saying here as far as pitching, Tim? It's pretty straightforward. There's not a lot that clearly stands out. It's like, yeah, we know the best pitchers are Lopez and they are Cole. And projection models, Tim, like, do they pick? I can't speak for the bat. I can't speak for what the RG projections are, but are they able to surmise and figure out, hey, Minnesota's, got everything locked up and maybe they're going to just push Lopez a little bit less? I don't know if that's something that's baked in or not. I don't know if that stuff works, but we're certainly thinking that that's a factor in some way, maybe enough of a factor to go for Cole instead of Lopez. Love Lopez, but I'm not sure if we're guaranteed much beyond 6. What do you got, Tim? Anything to add to that? Anything that's worth noting before we move on and start talking about?
We didn't talk about Dane Dunning much, did we?
Okay, talk about Dane Dunning. He's like,
I don't really like him, but it's a good matchup. His price is decent. He doesn't have much of a ceiling usually, but I think, I guess. But I mean, he's only 7,800. I just think, I don't know, like if Berrios busts, and he's going to be extremely highly owned, I think getting to a little bit of Dunning in your builds, say around 15%, 20%, somewhere around the field, I think that's completely fine. Just because this Angels team is so bad, so I think that Dunning is at least interesting.
Tim, you got Flying Armbars asking for favorite cheap pitcher on FanDuel. I'm not really sure you want to define cheap, but
yeah,
who would be your favorite cheap pitcher? Dunning's 8.2, Canning's 8.6. Like Thompson's 5.9, but you're only rostering one pitcher, and you kind of can't miss on FanDuel. So, I mean, obviously you get the world as far as hitters, but I know you're talking about Thompson being interesting as an SB2 on DK, but kind of a different world on FanDuel. What do you got as far as your favorite cheap pitcher on FanDuel?
Yeah, like you said, it's tough to define exactly what they mean by cheap, but I guess if you want like under 9K, it would be Canning. But honestly, I wouldn't want to go that low. I would, like, if I was making 150 on FanDuel, I would keep my pool as Lopez, Valdez, Barrios, and Cole. I wouldn't bother. I honestly wouldn't bother going lower than that.
TJ, you have a different answer or basically the same thing?
Sorry, I'm just pulling up the FanDuel prices here. But I would definitely have a smaller pool on FanDuel than I do on DraftKings. But I think I'd probably take some shots on those other guys. I would probably still just I would probably X out Lopez due to his ownership. And then I would try and get to Dane Dunning, maybe a little bit of Emmett Sheehan and Matt Waldron. And then honestly, in 150, I would take a couple Zach Thompson shots too.
Question here from Steve in chat. Any thoughts on sneaking Sheehan and Coors with Stevie Buckner helping him out? I think Buckner's like a terrible umpire, but I feel like he's one of those guys that like calls balls strikes and calls strikes balls. He kind of evens out, but just from watching the games, let's see what we have as far as Buckner. I don't know what he's labeled as. Let's see our extremes.
Pitcher.
Okay, so he is. Let's see. We have an extreme hitters umpire in Houston for what it's worth. That's the only extreme. Buckner is. We're giving him a hitters umpire. Is that what we're giving designation? Or you were guessing? I'm not sure. You said pitcher. Yeah.
For what?
He's a pitcher's. He's a pitcher's umpire.
He says pitcher. He's a pitcher.
Yeah,
umpire.
pitcher.
All right. So just one extreme. That will be in Houston tonight. Houston and Seattle extreme hitters umpire. And I don't know. I mean, like, you guys have a thought as far as Sheehan? Like, that's I either going to play Sheehan or I'm not. I'm not like going to play him because we got Buckner. I don't play. That's just
it has nothing to do with the umpire for me. It has to do with the fact that Colorado is pretty awful. And so he is actually my fourth highest owned pitcher today. I just love that he's projecting at like 3% owned on DraftKings.
All right. Hey, Tim, Andrew wants to know, how do you feel about this pairing on DK for a DK tournament? Barrios and Waldron. Is that pairing fine for you?
I think that's fine. Definitely.
Yeah. We'll talk about some hitters in a second. There's some hitting questions going on there. Michael says, are we thinking Valdez gets squeezed because he is sort of close to a Lopez price on DK and it's hard to play them together? I think Framber at 20% might be a tick high, but I don't know.
I think it's tough. Like, Cole is so expensive. I just don't think people are going to go to Cole, so they're going to go to Lopez, and then they're going to go to either Barrios, Canning, Dunning, or way down. So I think in some way, I think Valdez is going to get squeezed a little bit. And then on FanDuel, I don't know. Like, I think Cole's ownership is going to come up.
Yeah.
So I think Valdez is going to get more squeezed on FanDuel, actually.
I think I'm playing Cole in single entry on DK. I think I'm doing that. Haven't decided just yet. It's a fluid situation. But if that's how it's going to play out, I'm okay leading into Cole for single entry and hoping he outscores Lopez. I don't feel great about it because Lopez should absolutely destroy whatever's left of this Oakland lineup. TJ, people are just tuning in now, obviously. I don't know if we're up to 100 likes just yet. We got to get the likes up for more Spidey Bombs. I'll throw out some Dean Dongs as well. But let's give them the summary. What did they miss the first 48 minutes? Do you want to give them the summary in like 30 seconds or a minute or so?
Weird pitching slate. Pablo Lopez is going to be the chalk on both sides. He is the top option, but they've also clinched. And we could see him have his pitch count limited in this one. He might just go 5 innings and be done, regardless of how he's doing. And so even though the matchup's great, I'm hitting the X button on Pablo Lopez today. I'm playing a ton of Dunning, Barrios, and Garrett Cole. And then in pretty much close to even mishmash of Emmett Sheehan, Zach Thompson, Joey Estes, Framber Valdez, Griffin Canning, Matt Waldron, Wade Miley, just because I don't feel super confident in any of them, but they're all going to be relatively low owned on this slate compared to a guy like Lopez. And so I'm going with the Lopez full fade, doubling the field on Garrett Cole, and then mixing and matching a lot of other guys.
Tim, what would you like to add to that?
Yeah, not much. For those of you guys that are still playing cash games, I think Lopez is the clear and obvious choice on FanDuel and on DraftKings, and then SB2 for cash. Probably going to have to be Barrios because I just don't see any other kind of options. So I think the clear pairing in cash is Lopez and Barrios. For tournaments, we talked about it. Like I like Cole. I also like Zach Thompson quite a bit as a punt. And I kind of like Dane Dunning also.
Oh man, looking at that St. Louis lineup too. Both those lineups are really, really pretty gross. St. Louis versus Milwaukee. If you had tickets to this game, you bought them a couple months ago. This is probably not what you're expecting. Luke and Baker is batting third. Juan Yepes is cleaning up for St. Louis. No Arenado, no Goldie. It's what the second baseman, the lefty second baseman with all the power. He's not playing. He's hurt. Can't remember his name for some reason. But no Adames on the Milwaukee side, no Yelich. Lots of good players not playing baseball in that game. All right, stacks. Let's talk stacks. It's pretty clear the stacks. We have myself, Tim, yourself, Head Chopper, and Squirrel Patrol. We have a consensus rankings as far as the stacks today. Straightforward. We all have the Dodgers number 1, big shocker, 7-team total in Coors Field. Number 2, Atlanta, consensus-wise. Number 3 is Colorado. Number 4 is the Cubbies. 5 is the Padres. 6, a little bit of love for the Giants, a little bit of love for Minnesota, a little bit of love for Houston. Well, Tim, I would ask you, what do you want to move up, move down? Well, you did it yourself, so I'm going to ask TJ. TJ, it's the Dodgers, Atlanta, Colorado, the Cubs, San Diego, San Fran, Minnesota, Houston. How do you feel about that board? What is too high? What is too low? What are we kicking off? What are we throwing on there?
Did I hear Minnesota?
One person throughout Minnesota. Yeah, one of the 4. They're in the top 5.
I'd have Minnesota much higher. I'd have the Dodgers 1, Atlanta 2, Minnesota 3, Padres 4, and Giants 5.
Giant. Okay, yeah. So Squirrel's got the Giants there as well too, for what it's worth. He's got them 4th. Picking on Matt Waldron. No lineups just yet for that game. It's a late night game, though. Surprise, it'll be coming in soon enough. Tim, you want to defend your? Let's see. You have the Dodgers 1, shock. You have Colorado 2, which is kind of interesting, but it's a Coors Fields game, and that's how that goes down. 3, I have Atlanta. 4, San Diego. 5, the Cubs. Feel free to speak to stacks today. And on your single entry, are you just going to lean into the Dodgers and say, come get me, or are you going to try to be different?
So one thing I would say really quick is that if I could do that over again, I would probably add Minnesota in instead of the Cubs, just because of prices. I kind of like some of these cheap guys on the Twins. But yeah, I still like the Cubs. And I think this is a pretty decent spot for Colorado, even though they're terrible. So I think a lot of people are going to shy away from Colorado. And then obviously, what to do with the Dodgers, I'm not really sure. Probably I'm going to play them. They continue to get their at-bats. It's a great spot. This pitcher for the Rockies really struggles against left-handed bats. So guys like Freeman and Muncy, I think, are borderline must plays. So I love the Dodgers today. And I think Atlanta is the best pivot away.
Yeah. Let's see. Flying Armbar's got a question for Tim. He's talking about 3v3s. 3v3s of the Cubbies, the Braves, mini stack on FanDuel. Do you like the Padres as a late night hammer? So how do you feel about the do you like a 3v3?
I really like the Padres. I really like the Padres quite a bit. I saw Hassan Kim had a home run odds of about 900 on FanDuel that I like quite a bit.
A Padre is my 3rd highest owned player today.
Say that again.
A Padre is my 3rd highest owned player today.
It's Tatis.
It's not Tatis.
It's Machado.
It is not Machado.
It's the wrong player then.
No. It is the hottest hitter in baseball, Xander Bogaerts.
He had pretty good home run odds too.
Well, I mentioned this about a week ago or so. The Padres, gutless spot, they finally figured out that, hey, maybe we should, at game 145, they said, hey, you know what we should do? Maybe we should lead off Xander Bogaerts. And I guess it's been working out for him of late.
Maybe we should lead off our best contact hitter.
Yeah,
He's
isn't
Soto the best contact hitter?
He's plus 680 on FanDuel.
Manaea will give up fly balls. It's a bad ballpark for homers, obviously. I was looking at this the other day when I was writing about the Padres. I guess it was yesterday. The days are all sort of meshed together. But I'm pretty sure this is still the case. And I know everybody talks about how gutless the Padres are. Oh, man, I got to pull up the team stats. My bad. I was setting up for it, and I'm going to get the wrong thing. Now I got to say. Let me throw it to Tim. I guess you feel okay about the Padres as far as a late-night hammer? Just kill like 20.
I do, definitely. I think they're a really good, strong play. If you want to fade some of the early games, I think getting to Xander, Tatis, Campusano, I think is really interesting. Garrett Cooper at 3,300. He's a good, cheap salary saving option. And then, of course, you can always play Tatis. I think it's a very, very strong stack. Horrible ballpark, like Dean said. But I think I don't have a lot of faith in Manaea getting through the San Diego lineup.
Jeez, I want to get even more Dunning now after seeing this Angels lineup just have only 2 lefties in it.
You didn't know it was going to be bad?
I knew it was going to be bad, but I thought it was going to have more than 2 lefties.
Let's see. Grichuk, Neto, Drury, Moustakas, Ohapi, Adele's good in there because he'll strike out. Stefanik and Walsh, that's a lefty that'll also strike out. And Fletcher is the 9-hitter.
So is Fletcher in there instead of Shanuel?
Yes. Yeah. I think otherwise it's pretty kind of what we expected. Just shuffle it up a little bit differently. Hey, TJ, current roster, active roster. Where do you think the Padres are, the gutless Padres, versus lefties when it comes to WRC+? They're facing
11th.
a lefty tonight. Tim, see that 11? Where do you think the Padres are versus lefties this season, the entire season, in terms of WRC+, the active roster?
Oh, I don't know. I'll go like 14.
They're number 1. They're better than the Braves. They're better than Houston. They're better than Tampa. They're better than Texas. That. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
what you're saying is I should get more of the gutless Braves.
I was looking at Plate IQ and I was like, wow, this team looks amazing against lefties. I was like, wow. I don't think they're going to get much ownership, to be honest.
They're number 6 in terms of ISO. You can just kind of jumping through some of their stats. So number 2 when it comes to WOBA. Yeah, it's, OPS. You want OPS? Number 2 in OPS. They're still like really good hitters in this team. Of course, his ballpark stinks. But Manaea is like, serviceable or has been better, I guess. But he also is, he can give some long balls. He can give some homers for sure. You're also locked in for 9 on the road. I do like, I wrote up San Diego as a sneaky stack yesterday, or I think it was yesterday, when they're facing a lefty. Of course, they scratched the lefty. And I guess, is that guy just not going to pitch the rest of the season? Is he gone? The rookie? Like they said he was ill, and he didn't. I don't think he pitched out of the bullpen yesterday. But Harrison, remember Harrison, the stutter that one? Oh, Tim, you don't like Harrison because he beat you that one night.
Yeah, he burned me that one night.
But he's got some moxie. He's got some swagger. And, yeah, I was excited about San Diego against lefties, and I think they're worth noting. But they've been, like, benching, like, one of their stars, like, it seems like every single game. Yesterday was at Machado. I think Machado didn't play for some reason. I think they're healthy. Interesting, by the way, Soto went to left on right a couple times yard, and I assume like nobody had him last night because he was originally starting against left on left. But Soto's really, really good too, and Kim is awesome as well. Kind of annoying with Cooper, like he probably or possibly comes out for like Choi or something like that. There are some pinch hit risks. Grisham's another guy. If he doesn't start, he can come in and like become Azakar. But San Diego's got some real live good hitters, and I know they've been bad, I guess, disappointing, however you want to frame it. But at the same time, they have smashed versus lefties this year, and I think you're supposed to get over the field on San Diego. Will we consider San Diego for a single entry, Tim? I think that's an interesting thought.
Definitely. Like if I'm like I want to fade the Dodgers, then I'd go San Diego for sure.
TJ Mushmanzada in chat says, anytime the Padres are supposed to show up, they don't. At least for me, I hate them. Yeah, I mean, we all have those players, right? We just, for whatever reason, and it's not personal, it's just sort of randomness, right? That's just whatever reason they do not do what they're supposed to do when you happen to roster those players. Eric wants to know about Texas. I still think we're kind of in a holding pattern when it comes to Texas because I think there's a chance we don't get Seager. We can speak on it both ways, but yeah, TJ, where are you at as far as Texas tonight?
I think Semien is going to hit a home run today. I do not like Texas as a full stack, but even though we are still 10 likes away from Spidey Bomb number 2, that is in fact the second Spidey Bomb. It's Marcus Semien. You can get him for plus 430 on FanDuel. So let's keep hitting that like button. Let's get it up over 100. We got almost 400 people watching, so we should be able to easily get to 150 when the Crunch Time crew gets here, get 1/3 and final Spidey Bomb. So keep smashing that like button. And yeah, I like Semien to hit a homer. I don't like them as a full stack.
Shout out to those that are still grinding baseball and hanging out with us. I saw somebody in chat mention the Pick Six show. Yeah, the Pick Six show is later tonight, 9 o'clock. We are going to be dropping the Pick Six show Listener League. And you probably want to get it in early for that because I think it's going to be only 100 spots available. And you got a chance at winning not a week, not 2 weeks, not 3 weeks. You get a month free of RG Premium if you finish first out of 100. It's a 1% chance, but actually 5 of us will be a part of the show. We don't count. Just got to be first out of those just playing that are not participating on the RG side of it. So you can get that stream some added value. It's only $5, like a $5 tournament on TK. So, get in before it fills up. We will be dropping that live tonight on the Pick Six show. Already prepared. We're digging in as far as football. Should be a fun week coming up. Our boy Butto Jenkins in chat. Judge is back. He was dealing with I believe it was a toe. They're saying it's not going to be no tending in the offseason, no surgery of any sort. I guess this is a one-off question Butto was asking us. Tim, you're answering all these questions before I ask you. And now what are we supposed to do? Just stare at each other and look at your answers in chat?
I thought we were talking about movies for your show later, Dean.
I would love to.
I know you would. That's why I'm doing all the work for you.
I still haven't decided. I was the highest finisher amongst those in the show, and the quote unquote punishment, I do air quotes, is that you assign a movie for everybody else, and I haven't decided what to give the people. So throw me some examples in chat because I got some ideas jumping around my head. But or TJ, feel free if you have any thoughts what I should assign. Typically, I want it to be something that like they haven't seen before and something that's good. So like not necessarily the super obvious names. I want to like enlighten. I want to hey, here's a good movie. You guys should enjoy this. And we need a real upper after last week because 2 weeks ago the last one I assigned was Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, which I think is a fabulous movie, but it's not a feel good movie. If you want a feel good movie, that's not for
Princess Bride.
Is that your go-to? Everybody's seen
it. Was the first one that popped into my head when you kept saying feel good.
But everybody's seen The Princess Bride.
Most people.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Producer Steve hasn't. Producer Steve can feel free to chime in. He probably had. It's before his time. It's before your time, TJ. It's kind of before my time. But eventually, you see it. There you go. Producer Steve has not seen The Princess Bride. Can we run a poll? Let's ask the people. Have you seen The Princess Bride?
I've never seen it.
What's your excuse, Tim?
I don't know. Am I supposed to see that movie? Is that like
yeah. It's one you should have seen by now. Like, what else are you doing? It's 2 hours of your life.
It was as a kid, it was one of my favorites, and I remember watching it as like a really, really young kid, and I didn't know that the guy with like the mask and the sword wasn't Zorro. I thought I was watching Zorro. But that was kind of like a fun bit of my childhood as I loved The Princess Bride, but I thought I was watching Zorro.
There you go. I just like that.
I don't even know what Zorro is.
What? Zorro the Swordsman? Antonio Banderas?
I really don't know.
How much for? Okay. TJ, he doesn't know Zorro? Run a poll. Do you know who Zorro is?
I really don't know who that is.
Isn't the original Mask of Zorro one of like the most famous movies ever?
Yeah, I mean, many years ago, before all our time. But yeah,
that's where Bruce Wayne was at with his parents when they got shot in the back alley. Tim, they were watching the original Mask of Zorro.
TJ, spoilers? Seriously, really? I didn't know that happens.
You didn't know Batman's parents die?
It only in
Why
every
do you think
Batman
he's
Batman?
I'm getting blasted in the chat now. This is awesome.
Do you know what the Lone Ranger is in Tonto? Are you aware of there are those characters?
I do, yes. I know
What
that.
about Mario and Luigi?
Yeah.
Yes.
I did. Yeah.
Did you watch the movie though? No.
Yeah, I did actually.
The old school one, like the many years ago, or the recent cartoon?
The recent one.
All right. There was an original Transformers in 1985. I don't recall. I don't remember that. Michael's throwing that out, but that's one of those series that didn't quite take for me. The Wahlberg stuff or whatever. I don't know, TJ, if that's for you, but the Transformers.
The Wahlberg ones, no, I didn't like at all. I even like they were kind of a guilty pleasure. The early Shia LaBeouf ones were with Megan Fox. Those were kind of a guilty pleasure for me. But then I did like Bumblebee too. Bumblebee was fun.
Was that John Cena? Was that Bumblebee?
Yeah, it's like John Cena, Haley Steinfeld.
Okay, yeah, I have not seen that. Questions in chat, by all means, fire them off. We got 10 minutes until we get Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth. I believe we have just want to confirm no weather issues last I saw, unless
I just can't get over how low owned Atlanta and San Diego are going to be. They're both going to be like super, super low owned. I'm just
because everybody's playing the Dodgers.
I know, but it's like it's crazy. It's crazy to me.
Who do you prefer, San Diego or Atlanta, when you consider all the factors?
That's what I'm trying to figure out, because like Tatis is going to be pretty highly owned, and Acuna's not, and like Azuna's not, and Harris really isn't going to be either. So like, I think I might like Atlanta more than San Diego, because I think they're going to be like super, super low owned.
You got a thought on that, TJ? I know you're playing 150 lineups. You can't get every possible combination. Which one are you getting more of, Atlanta or San Diego?
Atlanta. In my last couple builds, Atlanta has been my highest owned stack.
We got any taters, by the way, Tim? I don't know. You kind of hinted at some odd stuff. I don't think you gave out any taters, though, right?
Yeah, Ha-Seong Kim. Plus
that was that an official tater?
Yeah, plus 870 on FanDuel.
I didn't see if the if we saw the official graphic, because I think until we see the graphic, I don't think it's official. Producer Steve's going to be on top of that, I'm sure, in a second. But that's what I need. At least that's me personally. There it is. Okay, now I know. We can lock in Kim for sure.
Yeah, like Matt Olson at 3% owned versus Freddie at 15.
Yeah,
like I think that's an amazing pivot right there.
Let's see what else is going on. I'm trying to see if we get any more lineups coming out, but I don't think we've had anything new, right? Angels are the last thing that was dropped. We're still waiting for Texas, waiting for San Diego. Angels just dropped. Who cares? Houston's coming. I assume it's going to be pretty standard. Somebody left the game last night. Was it McCormick? McCormick left the game last night with something. I think he had to be helped off the field, so he probably isn't playing tonight. Did see that note. And no Giants lineup as of just yet. Again, fire off your questions in chat, whatever it pertains to. If you don't want to talk baseball, by all means. But we're happy to answer your baseball questions. 10 minutes or so. We got is it Squirrel Patrol? I think it's Squirrel Patrol, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it's Squirrel and Cheese.
Yeah.
Could you ask for a better team up?
That's a lot of $1 million victories. And as of today, it's been confirmed via an independent panel that Dave Potts, Cheeseisgood, is a top 5 nice guy in DFS as well. So he's as nice as he is good at DFS as well. And I know before the show, Tim was saying he got snubbed, but I guess that's a different opinions. I don't know why I'm putting that on you, Tim. You didn't say it.
Dean being in the top 10 nice guys just shows how good of an actor Dean is.
This is all a facade. When we say cut, like I'm a tyrant. I'm throwing things. I'm yelling at producer Steve for sure. It's I have no idea how I have no idea how I cracked that. I'm like that list. Noto was number 1, which is like, yeah, of course. Noto's the nicest dude.
I can't confirm or deny because in my almost 2 years here, I've never interacted with Noto once.
I don't interact with him a lot, but like in the small sample size, he's been really, really nice to me.
I've only heard great things, but like I can't personally confirm or deny.
Tim, can you confirm or deny that Noto's a nice guy?
Never talked to him once.
All right, and producer Steve is just chiming in, and he's vouching for Noto. All right, let's see. Who's the Tim? You're making one lineup. Who's the one player, one stack that you're most afraid of not having enough of, for whatever reason?
I don't know. It's going to be either Atlanta or San Diego. One of those two. I can't decide.
And now, so it's going to be Dodgers and one of those two. So you're not going to go like 4-4 and just throw the Dodgers.
Well,
Dodgers
I mean, assuming I fade the Dodgers in single entry, it's either going to be San Diego or Atlanta. I have to decide on pitching first. So I'm not sure on hitting yet.
I'm still all over the place too. I have an idea of like who can potentially in the pool and who's not, but I have no idea what my lineup's going to look like. My main lineup. I'm kind of curious how we're going to figure that out.
I have done it. My lineups look how I want them to look.
Yeah, but wait until like Tatis's not playing tonight.
Then I'll adjust. But I finally just got like the amount of each pitcher that I want. I got the amount of each stack that I want. Still maybe a little too much Minnesota, but that's okay.
Is there something that you're well over or well under? Minnesota is one of them. Is there a pitcher you've ended up to get well over the field? Well, what are your biggest stands right now? You're looking at your lineups.
So I've actually, since we started, I took Valdez out of the pool. Just because he is still picking up some ownership on DraftKings. He's got that extreme hitters umpire. And he's like, just with being more of a ground ball guy, I just don't know if he's going to have that same type of upside. It's so rare. Like, I'm sure he can put up a great game, but it's so rare that I find myself looking at a score that Valdez put up and going, shoot, I'm going to lose because I don't have that. And so I actually took Valdez out as well. And so I'm way underweight on Lopez and Valdez, and I'm basically overweight on everyone else.
Well, interesting comment from Shot Like Harden in chat. McCormick got hit last night. I did see a Dusty Baker quote. He was talking about how his guys are getting hit too much. And look, this game matters more than any other game. This is the most important game on the slate, most important game. It's essentially a playoff game for Houston and Seattle. I don't know if they would like intentionally hit someone on the other side and risk the chances of like Framber Valdez getting kicked out of the game. That seems to be suboptimal. But if there was a draft on like what's the game that's most likely to have a brawl, what's the game that's most likely to have some sort of shenanigans, it's probably that game as well. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it's just throwing it out there in the world. I wouldn't think that Houston would get a revenge, unless there's a spot where the game's like 9-0 in the 8th inning. Like, why not? Sure. We're losing anyway. Who cares? Tim, question for you. Oh, man, I lost the question. My apologies. Did you already answer the question? You probably already did. You're a part of a country club, Tim? You're a golfer? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I am.
Right. Dynamite drop in. What's your what do they say? What's your handicap? Are you a scratch golfer?
I used to be like a 4, and then I hurt my back pretty bad, so I'm not very good anymore. But I used to be pretty good.
There was it's Harris versus Hayward. Who do you prefer amongst those two? Michael Harris versus Jason Hayward. Do you have a hard stand on those?
I'd rather go Harris. He's the way better hitter. So I'd go Harris.
Well, he's the way better hitter, but he's in the worst spot, right? And he's also at home and less likely to get 5 at bats, but also Hayward, I guess, theoretically could get pinch hit for as well.
Yeah, I'd argue he's more likely because of that lack of pinch hit risk.
Hayward's gonna be 15% versus I think Harris is 9. Like, I'd rather go Harris, definitely.
And the other thing is, like, is that a one-off, or are you running out Atlanta, LA stacks, and you're completing one of them? Like, we're not really sure exactly what's happening there.
I mean, if you have a Dodgers stack, go Hayward. But if you're not, I'd much rather have Harris.
Michael's saying, I just started watching the show Maine Cabin Masters and wondering if Tim has a cabin built by those guys in Maine. Are you aware of Maine Cabin Masters?
I am.
Anything
I
you can
know.
add to that? Do you have a?
I know one of the guys on the show.
What?
Yep. And I do have a cabin in the woods, but not built by those guys.
Are you a handyman? Can you build a cabin in a pinch if you need to?
I cannot. No.
How about yourself, TJ? You're calling a guy. You're calling somebody.
I'm calling anybody I can. I can't fix anything. I can lift heavy stuff. I can't fix things.
Let's see. Hoosiers, hangs banners, talking about Bellinger looking really low on Yahoo. I've not looked at Yahoo today, but we haven't mentioned Bellinger. I think Bellinger is a perfectly fine play. Who was besmirching the Cubs? Was that you, Tim, earlier? You wanted to lower him a little bit?
Yeah, just because I didn't realize like how low owned Atlanta was going to be. So if I'm paying up for somebody not for the Dodgers, I'd rather go with Atlanta or San Diego. So that kind of brought me down on Chicago.
Where are you at as far as the Cubs, TJ?
I don't mind them. They are in my pool. I haven't X'd them out by any means, but they are they're not one of my top teams.
Let's see. I'm trying to see what else is sort of interesting popping up as far as our standing out before we yield to crunch time. Where are we at as far as Spidey Bombs? We've given out 2. Is there a third on layaway? How many likes do we need?
I got a third one on layaway if we can get 30 more likes.
Okay. We've given out 1 Tater. We've given out 2 Spidey Bombs. I'm going to drop the dongs in chats before, during crunch time. I still haven't fully formulated my my dongs just yet, but going to fire 3 yesterday. They went limp, 0 for 3. Bad job by me. We're going to bounce back today for sure. Still waiting on Texas and Houston, San Diego, the Giants. Again, I think there's a chance we do not see Seager today. Anything else going on in chat? Well, Steve's asking us about a Cubs stack, and I guess we're a little bit behind, or he's a little bit behind. He's got to hit the fast forward button, I suppose. But yeah, Cubs are certainly in play. Give me the final thought here. Give me a final thought to TJ. Some people just tune in. They want to hear what Roth has to say. They want to hear what Dave has to say, and that's perfectly fine. Squirrel as well. But give me your final thought as we yield to crunch time, which is coming in shortly.
A lot of fun places to take it in tournaments today. I am not playing Pablo Lopez. I'm going with the full fade, and I'm getting overweight on some cheap guys and doubling the field on Garrett Cole today. In terms of stacks, obviously we have Coors, but Minnesota, the Braves, and the Padres are going to be my 3 heavy targets.
Tim in chat, Derek says you would win Survivor with those handyman skills. Can you outwit? Can you outlast? Can you outplay? It's not just you got to be likable. It's a social game. Are you a Survivor guy? I'm not a big guy.
I've never seen Survivor.
I think it's worth look.
Just
a lot of things we discovered.
Not one episode ever have I seen.
I feel like I would put my money on me against you guys in most game shows.
What game shows?
Oh, yeah.
Not The Price is Right
or reality TV shows. Game shows and or reality TV shows.
Come on, are you serious?
Oh yeah.
But arrange it. I'm there
any day, Dean. Remember the last time we went against each other?
Big Brother and say make it happen.
Dean's dongs versus Spidey Bombs. You remember what happened?
Well, it's a small sample size. It was like one. You beat me like 2-1, like in one day. Like good job. Congratulations. But a small sample for sure. What would be your specialty though, TJ? You're watching. I'm not a big reality show guy for the record, but I do like Survivor. There are ones I don't really watch. But what would be the one that you feel most confident that you would crush it? Squid Games?
I actually have a friend who is on the upcoming Squid Game reality TV show they did. I have a friend who's on it and who's going to be on TV for it. But I think I would do well at Big Brother. My favorite to watch is The Circle. Okay,
that's the one that's on the Netflix, right?
Yeah. The Circle and Love Island are my 2 favorite reality TV shows to watch.
Well, you probably, I don't want to do what you want to do, but I think you're a newly married gentleman, so you probably don't want to be on Love Island.
No Love Island for me, no. No, it'd be Big Brother or The Circle if I were ever going to do one.
Fair. 4.56 million, I think that's what it is. That's how much the top prize is on Squid Games. And I did see, I remember reading there was a lot of disasters in the sets. I don't know if What is Haywire is the actual TV show, but apparently it was a bit of a mess. It's Cheap and Well, just Kevin Roth. It's top 5 most likable DFS player in the world, Dave Potts, and it's Squirrel Patrol as well. Roth, what would be your specialty? What would be the reality show that you would just smash it?
The Bachelorette. I would get to the Smash Room night for sure. Yeah.
I don't think
yeah.
called that.
Like present day, or you mean like in another?
I've got a lot of
like,
game.
okay.
I just saw they're doing a Bachelor with old people.
That's
a
the Golden Bachelor. I'll be covering that on the Ticket to Reality podcast.
I may or may not be in like a pool where we all drafted old women, and so as we watch the show, it's pretty fun, pretty good.
Sounds like I'm going to be having Kevin and Cheese on for an episode of my reality TV show podcast.
Yeah,
you absolutely are.
Dave would smash on like The Voice or something like that, right? I don't know if you have an answer besides that. I don't know what to.
There's not a single reality TV show ever where I would finish higher than last place.
You know which one I'd be great at, Dean, is Don't Forget the Lyrics. Okay. That would be my bag.
How about Squirrel? You got one? Anything you can think of?
I can't remember the last time I watched non-sports on TV.
That's why you win so much money. No time for nonsense.
That's where I'm at, Squirrel.
Interesting. Like not even like a TV. You mean like a TV show or a movie you can't remember the last time you watched outside of sports?
No, I literally can't remember the last time I watched sat down and watched like a TV. Oh, well, I guess I watch like kids TV shows all the time.
Okay.
Like the Thundermans and like stuff like that. I mean, used
Little
to be
Teen
Paw
Titans
Patrol.
Go.
What is that?
Little Teen Titans Go.
No, what is it? Like Henry Danger, like some like Nickelodeon.
Is Phineas and Ferb still a thing?
Not heard of that one.
That was glorious. Yeah. That was good times.
All right. Well, hey, one question before we go, Dave. You're the nicest guy in the world. How much gruff should we give Tim for A, having not seen ever the Princess Bride, and B, not knowing what Zorro is? Like, who's Zorro? Is his response.
Wait, not knowing who Zorro is? That's he's never seen a Zorro. I could let that go. Never heard of him?
Never. I don't know who that is.
That's weird. I mean, I guess I don't like care, but it's bizarre. Like, where have you been for your whole life? So on this Princess Bride thing, on the poll, did it say like almost 50-50? I mean, that's crazy. I don't care how old I am. This is one of the best movies of all time. Like,
thank you.
I don't understand what anyone is doing not seeing the Princess Bride. Tim, just watch the movie.
All right.
Otherwise, don't come back. That from the nicest man around.
Tim, you got anything else before you step aside and get out of here? Tim, TJ, we got to make way for crunch time.
No, we got
good luck, everyone.
Best DFS players in the world on a show. So let's sit back and listen to them.
And if this is your last show, Tim, for baseball, you crushed this year. Had a good time. I'm not sure if it's your last show as well, TJ. Obviously, the last week of regular season, both you guys.
I was looking at the schedule, and Friday says for GrindersLive just Dean, and for Crunch Time just Roth. And
Roth
so
is
unless
doing the whole show,
unless they're gonna be soloing those, we may still be on something for Friday. We'll see.
I can't wait to watch Friday.
Yeah, Tampa Bay race stacks, baby, stack them up.
That was TJ and Tim. I was Dean, the Fanduel sponsor Crunch Time. It starts now. Roth, take it away.
Let's do it. Good stuff. Welcome to it, ladies and gentlemen. This is indeed Crunch Time, sponsored by FanDuel, as Dean mentioned. And I think he also mentioned two of the sharpest minds in the biz hanging out with me. We got Dave Potts, Cheeseisgood, multi-million-dollar winner, and also voted, I believe, was it the fourth nicest man in DFS?
I was not voted anything. This was like two people's opinion. And they've never seen me try to talk to Cardi, so they don't even know for sure that that's accurate.
I did. I was thrilled to see your name because I did think, yes, absolutely. And then a lot of people commented and said you needed to be higher on the list. Did that make you feel a little warm and fuzzy?
I appreciate it. Almost everybody is actually super nice, at least in real life. There are a fair amount of people who are not that nice online, but even most of them are actually pretty fantastic in real life.
That's kind of what I thought about it too. I was like, there are definitely some folks like STL Cards not on the list. That dude is so freaking nice. Squirrel, super nice. Eister means. There's just a lot of really nice people. But then I started thinking about like really everyone is super freaking nice. So it's kind of a tough list. Yeah. So
I would have said that about Squirrel, except that one time I got struck by lightning and he was just sitting there smiling like a jabroni.
Yeah.
Like he's off the list. I mean, what else can you say?
Yeah. Squirrel,
I
defend
thought
yourself.
it was a bit. I thought it was the cheese struck by lightnings kind of thing, like
right.
home run calls. I don't know.
No, really happened. And then Kirkwood says that Kirk D sounds incredibly nice. He is, but he's Boston nice. And that's a different, that's like, you can't be like deep South nice or Midwestern nice when you're just Boston nice. It's different levels here, Kirk. I thought I was going to be on the list, but then I remembered that time 10 years ago when I told Draft Cheat I was going to punch him in the face. So that probably disqualified me, I guess. But that's fine. I'm not bitter not being on the list. Hey, we gotta say hello to our guy Squirrel as well. All he does is win money, and I think you're incredibly nice as well. What up, Squirrel?
Thank you. Yeah, no, good reputation to have. I'll take that. Yeah, hanging out, doing some baseball. Things are winding down.
Yeah, this is the last week, right? By Monday, it's over. Is it just goes through the weekend and then that's
They
it?
do actually have playoffs, so that'll be a thing.
That is a thing. Yeah.
Wait, they're doing that this year?
They're gonna do that.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
The Braves are gonna have to postpone the ceremony.
Yeah.
And never have it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess especially the first few days, there's 4 games like while the wild cards are happening, so that should be pretty interesting, right?
Yeah.
All right.
There's less games overall.
Yeah. All right. Hey, that's enough dilly-dallying here. Brief weather note is that we've got a game in Detroit, but we don't care about that game, right? So then I have no weather notes. I was going to say that's really our only shot of running into any issues, and I think it's going to be fine. So outside of that, we're good. Tasteful Tide says, Roth is hiding his excitement that MLB is just about over. Yeah, I'm pretty freaking thrilled. I've got plans. Literally, as soon as the season ends, I'm going somewhere with no internet service. And I'm bringing 6 fishing poles. No internet, 6 fishing poles, and it's going to be glorious. But we're not done yet. So, Cheese, let's talk about this slate a little bit. You want to break it down for me?
Yeah. So the big picture is there are incredibly great and very obvious plays, both pitching and hitting, that are also very expensive. So really the decision is which do you want to spend up on? And there's going to lead to kind of chalky-ish construction both ways. Like there's a lot of, you can play Cole with Lopez, and then there's like this specific group of punts everyone's going to use, or you can play cheap pitchers with Dodgers and Braves. So we'll talk through both sides of it. And certainly I have enough lineups that I'm doing both builds, but very officially my go-to favorite build is spend up at pitching with cheap bats.
Okay. Very good. Well, I suppose we should just dive into it. Pitcher-wise, Cheese, You want to lead us off?
All right. So the first thing I'm going to say is at the high end, I like Garrett Cole better than Pablo Lopez, just straight up, not because of ownership or salary or anything, just because I like Cole better than Lopez. But those are the top 2 pitchers, and I think they're both great. And Framber Valdez is the 3rd best pitcher, and he's also totally fine. I wouldn't play any Valdez on FanDuel personally, where they're all 3 pretty closely priced. So there it's Lopez and Cole for me. And then the chalky mid-tier is going to be Jose Barrios. And I would call him my favorite of the mid-tier. I don't love it. I certainly feel better about Lopez or Cole being popular than I do about Barrios, but the options dry out in a hurry. So I am just kind of fine-ish with Barrios. Because once we get past that, so you either got Griffin Canning against Texas, which I think he's still pretty decent. Like I have him and Barrios about the same. And then Dane Dunning, if he was not facing the Angels, nobody would be interested in him at all, but he is facing the Angels. And so I think he'll be fine. Like I don't like him per se, but everything is just kind of nonsense if you're not spending all the way up. Like you're just hoping to get something. Dunning should give you the something, double-digit points. And he does have theoretical upside, like we've seen it twice this year. But I'm a little more nervous that Texas is going to pull him at just the first sign of any trouble, and he'll get in some trouble at some point. So I prefer Barrios and Canning ahead of Dunning. Wade Miley gets this super weird little Cardinals lineup. I still don't really like Wade Miley, honestly, but he's another guy that should totally be fine. And if you want to use him, at least on DK, I think it's acceptable. And as far as the cheap nonsense, my favorite, air quotes favorite, is Zach Thompson. The Brewers also have kind of a wonky lineup. I like Thompson. I just like him better than Minaya, though they're kind of the same cheap nonsense thing. And that's kind of my whole pool, honestly. I have almost all Garrett Cole with just very little Pablo Lopez, a little bit of Valdez, and then kind of a split of Barrios, Dunning, and Canning, or a cheap Zach Thompson.
Okay, very good. It's like condensed, but not. There's some names there, but I feel like it's the ownership is condensed at Cole and some of those guys up top.
So yeah, the one thing I want to say, I don't at all think that Lopez is going to be considerably more popular than Cole. I actually think Cole will probably be about the same, if not more popular in higher stakes. Like I don't believe we're talking about 3x Lopez versus Cole. But regardless, either way, I just like Cole better.
Okay, very good. So I'll kick it over to Squirrel. Squirrel, what is your plan of attack here as you look at these pitchers?
Yeah, actually, I do kind of like Pablo Lopez a little bit more than Garrett Cole. And I think I'm a little bit higher on Dane Dunning. Like the Angels have just been absolutely terrible. So it is possible he just cruises. I think that Texas does have like something to play for. Like it's like they've got I think 95% chance of making the playoffs or 96% chance. Like the team probably doesn't feel like that's 100% until it's like locked in. So I'm expecting him to get a full game, but it's basically the same names. I might have like some more of the truly like cheap pitchers like Joey Estes, Sean Manaea. Atlanta's got somebody, Dustin Vines. Those are all guys that I've got a little bit of on DraftKings, just trying to fit in the more expensive bats. And actually have a good amount, about like 20% Wade Miley as well.
Okay, easy enough. I feel like that was fairly straightforward. Let's flip it over to the other side of things and talk about some of the stacks. Already, Gridiron Beauties in the chat says, hey, what are we doing? Atlanta, LA? And I assume the answer is probably, yeah, those are good answers. Squirrel.
Yeah, so the Dodgers are in Coors Field, so that's a big deal. Yeah, because they're one of the best hitting teams and they're in the best hitting park. And there's a lot of like nonsense the last week of the Major League Baseball regular season because teams are like pulling guys. Like that's kind of an inherent advantage that you can't take away.
Right.
And I don't expect they're going to start pinch hitting for a bunch of people any more than they have throughout the season. In terms of other stacks, like I like both sides of the Seattle-Houston game. Like that's a game that has like a lot of playoff implications. So again, like nobody's going to get pinch hit for there. Or at least like not, like they wouldn't in a regular game flow. And then I do like the Giants. The Giants are affordable and they're facing a pitcher who's given up a ton of home runs both in AAA and in the majors so far in his career. So like the Giants and then also the Padres on the other side of that game. There's a pretty compelling argument for them being in a pretty good spot tonight.
Okay, fair enough. Cheese, I'll kick it over to you here. What is the game plan? And Eric says, what's the one stack to win it all? So you can end it maybe on that.
Sure. Like the obvious chalk is Dodgers followed by Braves. But again, they're like crazy expensive. You can kind of get to the bottom of the Dodgers lineup a little more affordably, but that's where the pinch hit risk comes in as well. So basically, this is where like if you want to play like Cole and Valdez or something, or Lopez and Cole, you really can't do it with the top of the Dodgers or the top of the Braves. But those are your top two for sure if you're paying down a pitcher. From there, the Padres would be next for me. And then I'm mostly looking at salary. I do like the Cubs a lot as well. Like the Cubs and the Padres are kind of my 3 and 4 behind the Braves and the Dodgers. But so as nonsensical as these Cardinals and Brewers lineups look, there's a little power in both lineups and they're just free. And I like them. They kind of say the same thing for the Twins. and still waiting on a Giants lineup, but there will be plenty of cheap pieces there. So I'm doing a lot, like an uncomfortable amount of Cardinals, Brewers, Twins to get in the expensive pitching. And I think the Twins will be the popular cheap team out of that. So I'm most overweight on the Cardinals. And please don't take this to mean that I expect them to do well. I expect them to score like 3 really dull runs. But they're so cheap. I think it's okay.
Okay. Jeff says, hey, I want a big-time Dodger stack on FanDuel. Who should I go for as pitcher, Cheese?
As pitcher?
Yep.
Well,
I bet he
like, yeah, there is a way
pitcher.
you can get Barrios with that, but honestly, I would go all the way down to Zach Thompson. And then you can play everyone you want.
Okay. Eric would like to know how drunk you are for going for the Cards. I'm assuming
Me?
not very. Yeah.
I mean, I had a lot of water. Some of it tasted funny.
Okay, very good. We got Dean's official dongs, by the way, in the chat. Number 1, Manny Machado. Number 2, Jordan Walker. And number 3, Dansby Swanson. Revenge narrative. I'm all aboard the number 3 just for that revenge narrative. Let's go around the horn here and talk about what we're doing. By the way, we're 7 likes away from getting some Spidey Bomb number 3. So make sure you hit us with that little thumbs up. I should also note this show is sponsored by FanDuel. Crunch Time is presented by the one and only FanDuel. Get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you bet $5 for new users in Arizona, Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Shout out to our fantastic sponsor, FanDuel. Let's go around the horn here. Talk about some position by position. Squirrel, you wanna lead us off?
Sure. We'll start at the catcher position, where I think Will Smith is going to outproject everybody, and he's really the one catcher I would go out of my way to get, if not in a stack, because he's in Coors Field and he's a good hitter. After him, maybe the next best is William Contreras, Elias Diaz, also with the in the Coors Field game with the Rockies, Mitch Garver. If you're looking for somebody super cheap, particularly on DraftKings, Victor Caratini with I almost said the Bucks with the Brewers because they were in the news today with the Brewers hitting cleanup.
Sorry, I was on mute to keep you from having to hear baby scream. All right, Cheese, your thoughts of catcher?
Pretty similar, like very obviously Will Smith if you have money, but he's super expensive. William Contreras is fine, as would be either Rangers catcher. I think we're still waiting on a Texas lineup. They'll probably both be in there. Ryan Jeffers is not exactly cheap, but he's cheap-ish. I do also like the Caratini thing. I have some lineups with Thompson and Caratini against him. Patrick Bailey, if he's in the lineup, he would be my favorite punt. And then I even have a couple with Ben Rortvedt just because he's minimum salary and it's catcher.
Great name, too. How about first base?
So Freeman and Olsen are, you could make the argument they're the top 2 bats on the slate. And they're crazy expensive, as they should be. I love them both. I would go Freeman 1, Olsen 2, but if I can play either of them, that's what I want to do. If I can't, the mid-tier is like, it's okay, but I don't love it. If Wilmer Flores is in for the Giants, I don't know where I want to play him on FanDuel. Probably second base, but he's kind of playable at first as well. The full punt that I like is Luken Baker, mostly because of his name, partly because of the price. And then if Garrett Cooper is in the lineup, which I would expect, he's not quite like dirt cheap, but pretty cheap.
Okay. Squirrel, what are you doing at first?
Yeah, so all the guys that she's mentioned, Nolan Jones is first base eligible, and so on FanDuel, so he's worth a look. He's like slightly cheaper than Freddie Freeman, and also projects slightly worse than him. And then Lamont Wade, I'm pretty high on the Giants tonight. Like the Padres pitcher Matt Waldron has had some issues with the home run ball, so Lamont Wade is going to have the platoon advantage there, and he's a guy that could potentially take advantage of that.
Okay. How about second base?
Second base. So I've got a lot of Tommy Edman leading off for the Cardinals, Dylan Moore for Seattle, Jorge Polanco for Minnesota, and like Mookie Betts, obviously, if you can afford him, for the Dodgers. I think the Rangers lineup might have just come out.
It did. It is Simeon, Seager, Lowe, or Lau. I don't know which one. Garcia, Jung, Heim, Garver, Tavares, and Carter. Anything there that you were alarmed by?
It's good the Seager is in the lineup.
Yes,
because that was a question mark.
Okay,
and that's the total projected lineup if Seager was in, which he is.
Batting, we're good. All right, Cheese. What are your thoughts here at second base?
Obviously, Mookie Betts is a fantastic play, and he is wildly expensive, as he should be. And he's not really quite my favorite Dodger. So, I mean, I would prioritize Freeman and Muncy ahead of him, but by all means, play Mookie Betts. On FanDuel, I like Ryan McMahon a good bit. My second favorite play overall, if not Betts, is Albies. And then like the Twins guys and Edman in the mid-tier, quite likable. And then for my nonsense cheap punts on DK where I'm doing the pitchers, I'm playing a mix of Chiarasuto, Michael Stefanik, Monasterio, the Monk Man, and Matthew Batten.
Okay. How about third base, Cheese?
Muncy. Obviously, we've mentioned a Dodger at every position, and that's for a reason. But I think Muncy is probably my favorite based on the position and the price so far out of the four big ones. So I'm playing a lot of Muncy. I think Muncy's ownership kind of leaves Riley as a forgotten leftover. So definitely play some Riley. Ryan McMahon, again, on FanDuel. I probably prefer him at second, but kind of go either way. Same with Jorge Polanco and Wilmer Flores. Suarez is a tournament dart that I like. Josh Young as well. I don't love the cheap stuff at third, although mostly like the same guys are available, like the three cheap second basemen, as well as Miles, the Maestro, for the Cubs. So if I can't get Muncy or Riley, I don't mind just going all the way down.
Okay, Scroll, your thoughts at third?
Yeah, Max Muncy really projects as one of the best hitters on the slate. Then I do like Manny Machado as well with the Padres. I don't think that lineup's officially out yet, but he should be in there. And then Jorge Polanco, third base eligible on FanDuel at 3,200, also projects very, very well for me.
Okay, how about shortstop?
So shortstop, again, Mookie Betts and Corey Seager are going to project better than everybody else. We now have confirmation that Seager's in the lineup. Then I do like Tommy Edman leading off for the Cardinals, Xander Bogaerts for the Padres. If you want a value piece, I think Dylan Moore for the Mariners. I'm pretty high on the Mariners, both sides of the Astros and Seattle game.
Okay. Geez, your thoughts at shortstop?
As Squirrel keeps mentioning Dylan Moore and Mariners against Valdez. Isn't the Mariners against Valdez what won you $600,000? And is that why the bias towards the Mariners?
It is. It could be some bias.
There could be something sticking around.
Yeah. Valdez did melt down that game. I think he got ejected. So yeah, take that for what it's worth.
Valdez ejection is always in play.
Yeah.
Like he is a moody gentleman. That is for sure. Where are we, by the way?
I think we're at shortstop, Cheese. Your thoughts?
Yeah, that sounds right. So on FanDuel, you do have Betts at shortstop as well. And I think I prefer him at shortstop if you're spending up. But I like Bogaerts and Edman, probably my favorites for the price on FanDuel. On the DK side, I have a little bit of Angel stacks here and there with Zach Neto, but I don't really like him on his own. I would prefer to just, if you're punting, just punt. Me and this goofy just playing the Cardinals. Mason Wynn, is fine. Kyle Farmer I like as a one-off as well, for cheap stuff on DK.
Takes us to the outfield. Cheese, what do we like there?
We like a lot. I do think that the high end will be kind of overlooked here. It is just hard to get them all. So I think the four that I like the best that I think will be under-owned is Tatis, Alvarez, Tucker, and Judge, especially Judge. You can play Barrios and play Judge in the same lineup. I have no problem with that. I do like the 3 lefty Dodgers on FanDuel, especially where they're very affordable. I always hate the Giants pinch hit risk, but Yaz and Jock are both cheap enough that if they hit a home run, they can come out after that. I think it's fine. Michael Harris is $3K on FanDuel as well. The DK stuff, it's the same group of spend ups. And then there's some more punt viable things under 3K, like Tyrone Taylor. Matt Wallner's a little over 3K, but he's in that same group. Estevan Florial is in a few lineups for me. Blake Perkins, Juan Yepes. Like, none of these guys are fantastic, but to reiterate, they're cheap, and I'm playing Cole and Lopez.
Yeah. All right. Makes sense. Squirrel, your thoughts on the outfield?
Yeah, I really like Yordan Alvarez. I think Max Muncy and Yordan Alvarez are probably my top 2 hitters tonight. So I got a bunch of Yordan Alvarez. He's been one of the top hitters in baseball over the last 30 days. Fernando Tatis as well is probably going to go a little bit under-owned, with everybody wanting the Dodgers, or maybe thinking the Braves if they really want to spend up. And then I like Kyle Tucker along with Yordan Alvarez. Then I like the Mariners guys, Julio Rodriguez, Teoscar Hernandez. Could be some Mariners bias, but they could also, just get to Valdez again. And then, some of the Giants, Yastrzemski and Jock Peterson.
All right, very good. Let's do some home run calls. We got Dean's Dongs. We got a couple Spidey bombs, and I think we're probably just like a smattering of likes away from a third. So make sure you're hitting us with that thumbs up. And now we need some squirrel nuts or some squirrel bombs or whatever they're called. You got any home run calls for me?
Yeah, I'll go to Teoscar Hernandez and Lamont Wade.
Very good. Some cheese curd bombs. What do you got?
Yeah, not counting Dodgers. On the high end, I'll go with Alvarez. Cheap, I'll go Luke and Baker.
Very good. That leaves us with 19 minutes. I'm going to be honest. I don't know if I'm going to make it to lock. I feel like shit. My kids are screaming. But we're going to try. We're going to take some questions for you. I might bail out of this show 5-10 minutes early. I don't know. Spidey bomb number 3, Kyle Tucker on the board. So Spidey bombs are Matt Wallner, Marcus Semien, and Kyle Tucker as your 3 Spidey bombs. Let's take some QQs. We got them coming in fast and furious. So I am, of course, going to start with the RG Discord, which I didn't have up. So maybe I'll actually start here in the YouTube. Jung or Garcia, Cheese, last man in a Rangers stack on DK?
Garcia.
All right, Cheese, right back to you here. DK Cash, Lopez Cole, outfield punt, or Lopez Barrios Tatis?
I would do Lopez Cole punt.
Okay. Let's see what else we got going on. Scrolling up a little bit. Squirrel says, hey, no Cubs love today. Huh? I'm sorry. Amateur Hour says, hey, Squirrel, no Cubs love today, eh?
I'm playing some Cubs. I don't have a ton of them. There's just a bunch of teams that I like more.
Okay, that's fair. DK GPP single entry question. Do Cubs, Squirrel, and or Texas still have something to play for? Do we like Texas in a bounce back? For pay up, do you prefer Seager or Olsen? I feel like Seager has been, well, I don't know. I won't answer that.
Yeah, I'd go Seager now that we know he's in the lineup. I know Texas has like something to play for, I think, but it's like they're like 95% chance to make the playoffs, something like that, like 95, 96.
But they very much do though, like for the division title.
Yeah. I think it's like 80 something for the division, division title, but like they probably think like, yeah, they need to like win this game. So I do like Texas. I like Dane Dunning a little bit more, just because Griffin Canning's decent. So I like the pitching side of the Texas game maybe a little bit more than the hitters, but yeah, you can go either way.
And the second half of that, the Cubs have everything to play for. I mean, they're like a half game lead for the wild card, so like full go for Cubs.
Okay, great. Tom says, Cheese, I need your DK cash pitchers. Who do you like?
Cole Lopez.
All right. Favorite pitchers, Cheese, in a DK single entry GPP.
Cole and Zach Thompson.
All right. We Want Dean says, apologies, I was late. He's got like a lot of questions here. Number one, single entry high dollar DK. I'm rocking Cole Pablo, Squirrel. Cole Pablo with a giant stack and Neto. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's definitely in play. I mean, you're obviously like spending up for pitcher, but I think that's okay. I think the Giants are in a good spot. So, like that's if you are trying to save on your stack, I think that's one of the better ones.
Okay. He says, when is TJ coming back from vacation? Can we shout him out? I'm pretty sure I just saw him like 20 minutes ago.
He's coming back at least an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, he's back. So yeah, you got to tune in. I feel like your username. I feel like you might not understand the schedule of when Dean and when TJ come on. They're on Grinders Live. That's before this crunch time. This doesn't have Dean and TJ. So we gotta. And then the Yankees money line is a lock. That's just a comment. I like that. Squirrel FanDuel Cash Bogarts and M Harris or Simeon Jock.
I'd go Simeon Jock.
ASAP Chargers for DK. Cheese Machado Polanco or Alvarez Julian?
Alvarez Julian.
NBA DFS says off topic, but how about how bad the Mets screwed up last night with the postponement? Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, it wasn't raining. If they couldn't get the field in shape, you probably should have postponed it, not an hour and a half after the game. That was a pretty big screw up, I would think. Yeah. Let's see what else we got here. DKGPP Squirrel. Do you like San Diego, Minnesota, and Houston mini stacks?
Yes, actually, I like all three of them. Probably in the order Houston, San Diego, and then Minnesota, but all three of them are teams I would target.
Okay, great. Chris Alexander in the YouTube chat. Hit us with a little thumbs up, Chris Alexander and friends. Anybody else in the YouTube chat? FanDuel Cash Squirrel, Jock Peterson or Hayward for you?
Oh, Jock.
Trippy A says Waldachuk or Miley, Cheese? Waldo or Miley?
Waldachuk's not pitching unless
he means Waldron. Waldron or Miley.
Okay.
He
gotcha.
fixed it.
I prefer Miley over Waldron.
Okay. Shout out to our production team. Ready. They saw me about to trip over that bomb and they were ready to fix it. That was amazing. Marcus Martinez says, hey, I joined late. Cheese, which SP should I lean towards in a $1 GPP? He wants to take it all down, Cheese.
Which site?
He didn't say.
Well,
for me, it's Garrett.
He said it's Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole for sure. So then if that's a DK thing, if you want to like that, then what are you doing with your bats? I prefer Cole with Lopez and cheap bats or Cole with Zach Thompson and expensive bats.
Great. Succinct answer there. Nick says, Squirrel, are the Brewers getting high ownership? The Brew Crew?
I don't think they're going to see particularly high ownership. I think they're kind of in the middle for everything. There's a bunch of teams I like more, but I think the Brewers are playable depending on the combination.
Okay. Matt Hall says, what are the chances of Lopez, Squirrel? Lopez bowing out the game early?
Yeah, that's the concern. I don't think we really know. I mean, last night it was like Daily Over, destroyed the A's. And he only pitched 5 innings, but I think he got double-digit strikeouts. He had a great fantasy game. So, yeah, I don't know. That's the risk. I'm rolling with a pretty good amount of Pablo Lopez. So I'm taking the risk that he either is going to go a full, as a full normal game, or that he just does so much in 5 innings that it doesn't matter.
Gotcha. Okay. Rukin Verde, Cheese, Estes and Thompson, a pitcher, and all the bats. DK large field GPP. How crazy am I? We're going Estes and Thompson and all the bats.
I don't like it at all.
That's fair. That's a fair answer. Squirrel, you got anything you want to add there?
No, I mean it's a fun lineup, but yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of risk in pitcher.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. D-Rock says, will we get an end of season song from Cheese this year? I don't like putting that pressure on Cheese. Some years, if he wants to grace us with a song, that's fine. Other years, if he doesn't, that's fine.
Almost every, I feel like you got it instead of me. Like almost every year I get super sick right at the end of the season. Like
Yeah.
I just like trying to get through it. Like if I'm alive on Friday, which right now I'm fully alive, it's still probably no, but we'll see what happens.
Not out of the question. Let's see. Here we go. Jay Brunton says, Cheese, Houston, Seattle, #game stack.
No.
All right.
I like it.
You like it?
I do. I like both Houston and Seattle. They're both playing for something in the same game against each other. But
okay. Great. Amateur Hour says, is Sheehan playable in GPPs? Snow Fighter, I'm skipping over that question because I'm trying to avoid fights. So Amateur Hour, is Sheehan playable in GPP, Squirrel?
I have a tiny amount of him, so I guess that's playable.
Okay. DK Cash, Cheese, back to you. Who was your pick between Lopez and Cole if you're not spending for both? It's Cole. Cole's your boy. Yeah,
yes.
It's Cole. Yeah. All right. Gregorius the Wise says, Cheese, with Blade, my boy JJ Bidet back in the Oakland lineup, is Lopez now a fade?
It's a lot of faith in JJ Bidet.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, are we worried about
Incredible.
JJ Bidet? No, we're not, right?
You should not change your opinion of Pablo Lopez based on JJ Bidet being in the lineup. I hope that's not actually the question.
I think it is.
Okay, then no.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah. All right, Squirrel, over to you. Favorite last in a Cub stack for single entry GPP, Squirrel? Gomez or Candelario?
I'd go Candelario.
Cheyenne just saying got burnt by the postponement by the Mets. Everybody did. It wasn't raining. It was that was one that just burned everybody. Are you guys okay with Wade Miley on FanDuel? Squirrel, you got any Wade Miley on FanDuel?
I think he's better as like an SP2 on DraftKings. He's like, look at. I've got some of him on FanDuel, but like single digit amount.
Okay, so this question, is Wade Miley playable? The answer is yes. Do you have a whole lot of faith in him? Not particularly. Okay, that's fair. Follow-up question from Trippy. Walden and Scroll will stick to you. Waldron or Miley? Oh, we already did that one. Yeah.
I'd also go with Miley.
Yeah, all right. John says, Cheese, if I'm paying up for bats, which cheap or mid-tier pitchers would you take on DK? This is not your approach, Cheese, to be clear. This is not what you're doing.
Right. I mean, but I have a few lineups of it. But so Zach Thompson is the lowest I'm going. I have like one or two lineups that have Thompson with Sean Manaea. That's officially the cheapest that I have anywhere, and I don't really like it. I'd rather go Thompson with at least up to Dunning.
Okay, great answer. That part says, can I get both of your favorite pitchers? I'll go first. Cole. Now you guys get to go.
Cole.
Pablo Lopez.
Hey, mixing it up. Very nice. All right. Gridiron says, hey, great job, guys, on the insights. Both experts are always on point. You're right. They are. Hit us a little thumbs up. It's free content, and they're both really, really good. Like ridiculously good at DFS. So pretty cool when you step back and think about that. All right. Let's see. King says, enough with this baseball nonsense. Cheese, what do you think about the big Dame Lillard trade?
I had no idea he got traded. Does he still play for Portland then?
No.
Did he last year?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
He has been, the only good player essentially on a struggling Portland team. And he says, I want to stay my career here. I don't care. But it doesn't make sense. He's too good to be on a team that's barely making the playoffs or missing the playoffs. So where did he get traded to, Cheese?
I don't know. Milwaukee.
There you go. Milwaukee.
Is that right? Squirrel said something about the Bucks, so I figure that that's it.
That's right.
It's incredible that I've heard of Damian Lillard. So that means he's really good. I love it. Great trade.
Pretty awesome. It's pretty It's pretty exciting. NBA is more fun than MLB, which is happening, and NFL. And it's not even happening. And it's still more fun than any other sport that's actually happening right now. Squirrel, you got any thoughts?
Does Damian Lillard eat into Giannis's fantasy production and vice versa? I don't know. Like both of them might be like overpriced in DFS like first few weeks of the season.
But I think they might just be the only two guys who do anything on that team. Like they might each just put up monster games every single night. They pair so well together. They're just literally the perfect combination of players.
We'll see. I guess like Chris Middleton's probably gonna like do nothing.
Yeah. Might as well get him out of there. I don't know. Anyway, I'm very excited for that. Sorry to go on a basketball rant. Yes, I'm looking forward to basketball. All right, back to baseball. We still have 5 minutes until lock or so. Scrolling down, make sure we got everything here. Roth, I know that cheese is good, but when has this squirrel guy ever done anything? I think he's kidding. He won $1 million a week ago, so that's pretty good.
He's kidding, but
yeah,
a well-phrased question.
Yeah.
DKGPP's Squirrel, mid-range pitcher, Barrios, Dunning, or Canning. Who is it for you?
I'm gonna go Dean Dunning. I think he's got more upside than people are thinking. Like he's had double-digit strikeouts, I think 3 times already this season, and like the Angels are just like put a postage stamp on it and they're mailing it in. So I'd go with Dunning.
Okay, great. Okay, here's a best cheap pitcher on FanDuel, Squirrel, for you. Thompson at 5'9" or Vines at 5'8"?
Thompson, yeah, I'd get Thompson.
Great, okay. Vibe says, Squirrel, McDonald's or a two platter of wings and fries for dinner? So McDonald's or a combo wings and fry?
I'm getting like buffalo chicken bites delivered to my house as we speak. So I'm going to go with the chicken.
That's a clear.
Someplace we've heard of.
California Pizza Kitchen? Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know that. All right.
I would not have guessed that's a thing.
Nope. Cheese, McDonald's or wings and fries?
Wings and fries.
Yeah, I think I got it.
I really only like McDonald's when I'm traveling. Like I like to eat it in the car when I'm going somewhere. I don't like just sit around and eat McDonald's.
Same, but I do
feels like a bad idea.
Wildly enjoy it when I'm traveling. Like every time I eat McDonald's, I'm like, yeah.
I've really. It's been a long time since I've been disappointed.
Yeah,
when I get McDonald's, I was like, that was a good idea.
Yeah. Favorite cheese, DePrince. We got 4 minutes until lock. DePrince says your favorite cheap FanDuel second baseman.
I guess it depends what cheap means. Because like you don't have to spend that much on second base. Like if Julian or Edmund count at 2,900, I would do Edmund 1, Julian 2. If you have to go super cheap, I guess still and more. But like it's not as useful to go that cheap on FanDuel.
Gotcha. Okay. Squirrel, your very favorite FanDuel large field pitcher and stack combo, go.
Super large field. I'll go Dean Dunning, Dodgers and Giants.
Okay. Very nice. Eric says your favorite 3-man team with a 5-man Giant stack. Squirrel, favorite 3-man mini with a 5-man Giants.
So
depends how much money.
It's hard without knowing the exact site. If you can get the Dodgers, obviously go to the Dodgers. Part of the reason you're playing the Giants is they're a little bit cheaper, so that maybe allows you to spend up.
Yeah,
for the Dodgers if possible. Otherwise, maybe try Houston and get Yordan Alvarez in there.
Okay, I like that. JB says Yepes double dong cheese. Yepes going for 2.
Probably not, but I think he's a good cheap play.
Very good. Best Oakland one-off cheese in a DKGPP. Your favorite Oakland one-off?
Essentially, Seth Brown, Ryan Noda, and JJ Bleday are the same person. I would go Seth Brown.
Okay. Rangers fan says, Roth, can you ask RotoGrinders to do NHL crunch time shows this year? You got to talk to Tim. I think there's just other content. We're doing NBA, and the prize pool is much larger in NBA.
I know last year there were a handful of days where they had the big Tuesday slates where they would do, and it wasn't at crunch time, but it was an earlier essentially a Grinders Live. I don't know if
Something.
they're doing that this year or not.
Yeah. Tides does NHL, right? I didn't make that up.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, he's one of the main NHL guys.
Yeah. He seems like a hockey fan. Headline: Chinatown says, headline: millionaire dude still eats chicken bites voluntarily.
Can't have caviar every night.
Yeah.
It gets so salty.
Right. Yeah. It'll bloat you. Last piece: Edmund or Jordan Walker from TJ. Squirrel, Edmund or Jordan Walker?
Edmund.
Okay. Kurt, this is the best question. We're going to end it on this. Kurt says, I am new to MLB DFS. What is a good resource to get the best strategy? I think you're starting off pretty good by watching the show because you're getting the insights from two really sharp minds. In particular, the beginning of the show, when we talk about pitchers and stacks, more so than just when we go through and give you position, I think is very valuable. But Cheese, I will leave you to answer that. He's new to MLB DFS. Good resources for strategy for next year, you know.
I have some primer articles that I wrote for last season that kind of walk through all the stuff that before next season, we will link to them again. Like the short answer is, if you're new to MLB, don't start until next. Like, don't look at anything until next March. Like, don't start this week.
Yeah.
Like, I mean that. I thank you for listening to the show, but if you have not played MLB DFS before, don't start tonight or this year.
Okay. That is.
I think we have some like Roto Academy articles out there too.
There are some Roto Academy stuff. We've got all kinds of content on RotoGrinders that can then help you out no matter what level you are at. So make sure you're checking that out. I think we hit lock. Is that accurate, guys? Or are we doing Canadian lock and we're 2 minutes behind?
Oh, no,
it's right. Canada lock. Yeah.
Is it really?
They're singing right now. It is Canada lock day. Yeah.
It's all right.
What are those people doing?
It gives us a little more time here.
I still think we should have TJ on the last 2 minutes of these crunch times to sing for us as we head towards lock.
TJ, if you were still there, if you could just sing "Oh Canada" or type it for us, that would be great. Oh Canada, our home and native land. Oh Canada, it's time for you. I stand. Something like that. Is Toronto getting too cute in DK tournaments? Cheese, is Toronto too cute?
Too cute for me. Yeah.
How many left-handed RP for relief pitchers? How many left-handed relief pitchers for the Angels? Do we know that? Anyone?
Yeah, they have. I don't know the number, but they're heavily right-handed. I think they only have 2 lefties, and the rest are all righties. So more of their relievers will be right-handed.
I have offended TJ. I'm sorry, TJ. It was not it. I thought that was the Canadian national anthem. I think I was close, but he says that was not it. I apologize.
I bought it fully. I thought that was it.
It was close. I got most of it, I swear. Let's see what else we got here. Zach says, are you guys doing playoffs too? We are I shouldn't say most certainly. We will have content for playoffs, correct? But not crunch times, I believe is.
I don't know. I don't plan to do anything. There will be something if there are a couple of big slates. But there won't be much because there's only a couple days of relevant size slates.
Yeah. So we will have some content, but we're not going full in like we have been for the last 272 days or however wonderfully long it's been. With that, we've hit the lock. So I think we can bounce on out of here. Does that sound good? You guys ready to hit it?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. So for Cheese, for Squirrel, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, guys. We do appreciate you. We love you. We will catch you tomorrow. You have been crushed.